Thank you so much for watching Landumc Goes There. Please subscribe and hit the like button and the bell notification button. Bullitt is a 1968 action thriller film that was directed by Peter Yates. The movie stars Steve McQueen, Robert Vaughn, and Jacqueline Bisset. It was made by McQueen's Solar Productions Company and was released by Warner Brothers 7 Arts on October 17, 1968, and it was a critical and box office success. The storyline goes that Senator Walter Chalmers is aiming to take down mob boss Pete Ross with the help of testimony from the criminal's hot-headed brother Johnny, who is in protective custody in San Francisco under the watch of Police Lieutenant Frank Bullitt. When a pair of mob hitmen enter the scene, Bullitt follows their trail through a maze of complications and double crosses. The film was director Peter Yates's first American film. He was hired after Steve McQueen saw his 1967 feature called The Robbery. It had extensive car chases in it. Bullitt was set to emphasize the car chases and was written that way. Bringing Yates in as the director was a no-brainer, since McQueen had already seen what he could do. McQueen based his character of Frank Bullitt on San Francisco Inspector Dave Toschi, with whom he had worked with quite a bit prior to filming. McQueen even copied his unique fast draw from his shoulder holster. Toschi later became famous, along with Inspector Bill Armstrong, as the lead San Francisco investigators of the Zodiac Killer murders that began shortly after the release of Bullitt. The film is notable for its extensive use of actual locations rather than studio sets, and its attention to procedural detail. The director used a new lightweight Aeroflex camera, which allowed for greater flexibility in the location shooting. The film wasn't entirely shot on location. In the emergency room scene, real doctors and nurses were used as supporting cast. They tried their best in this production to achieve not a theatrical film, but a film about reality. At the time of the movie's release, the exciting car chase scenes with McQueen behind the wheel generated a lot of excitement with audiences, and is still considered to be one of the most exciting car chase scenes in Hollywood history. And those sequences revolutionized the way Hollywood did that and its standards for doing it. The chase scene starts at about 1 hour and 5 minutes into the film. The total time of the scene is 10 minutes and 53 seconds, all beginning in the Fisherman's Wharf area of San Francisco at Columbus and Chestnut. The scene ends outside the city at the Guadalupe Canyon Parkway. The director called for the maximum speeds of about 75 to 80 miles per hour, but the cars, including the chase cars in the film, at times reached speeds of over 110 miles per hour. Drivers' point of view shots were used to give the audience a feel of the chase. McQueen, who was at the time a world-class race car driver, drove in the close-up scenes, while they used stuntmen for the real high-speed parts of the chase that they considered too dangerous for their star to do. They used Bud Eakins to do the really dangerous stuff. He's one of the most famous Hollywood stunt drivers that there was at the time. From the interior shots, looking forward inside the Mustang, it's easy to see which one is driving. When McQueen is driving, the rearview mirror is down, reflecting his face. When Eakins is driving, it's up, so his face is hidden. Several items of clothing that Steve McQueen wore during the filming boosted sales of these products through the roof. Desert boots, trench coats, and blue turtleneck sweaters plus brown tweed jackets with elbow patches just soared in popularity. At the time of the filming of the project, San Francisco was not a big filmmaking mecca, but the then mayor was really keen on trying to promote it as such. Consequently, this movie enjoyed freedom of movement around the city that would be really hard to come by today, including giving up an entire hospital wing for filming, closing down multiple streets for weeks and weeks for the car chase scenes, and taking over San Francisco International Airport at night. 2 Mustangs and 2 Dodge Chargers were used for the famous chase scenes. Both Mustangs were owned by Ford Motor Company and were part of a promotional loan agreement that they had with Warner Brothers Studios. The cars had been modified for the high-speed chase. Both of the Dodges were junked after filming was completed, as also was one of the Mustangs. The other, less banged-up Mustang was purchased by a Warner Brothers employee after the production had wrapped. The car ended up in New Jersey a few years later, where Steve McQueen attempted to buy it. The owner refused to sell it to him. More recently, the car came out of storage and was sold at auction for some ridiculous amount of money. Now, there was a lot of talk in Hollywood while this film was being produced that Jacqueline Bisset and Steve McQueen were having an affair while production was going on. This is completely not true, but Miss Bisset states that she really enjoyed his company. In interviews, she has stated that one of her favorite memories of shooting the film was when they went out to eat. She states that they didn't have caterers to feed everybody, so they went to local restaurants, and she felt like every time they did it, it was an adventure. McQueen would always request an area in the back because he didn't want to be seen, so they would sit 6 or 8 of them, or maybe just 4 of them, in a private dining room somewhat hidden in the restaurant, because McQueen just didn't want to be out in the crowd. At that time, he was really a big star, and people would just go nuts when they saw him. As time went on, she got more and more relaxed around the famous actor and thoroughly enjoyed the time spent in these private dining rooms. Take a look back at this classic from 1968. It's a good one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.